So this is a recent spins video, which I want to try and do on a regular basis. I've actually started a spin journal, a notebook, where I'm keeping tabs on what I'm listening to. Now, I started it on the 23rd of November, 2024. And as of today, whatever today's date is, it's Friday, the end of January. I've listened to 81 records. So from the end of November through to the end of January, 81 long playing records listened to, which I'm quite pleased about. So, but I'm going to let November go because it was too long ago. And I can't remember anything about what I thought about the records. I mean, December's bad enough. I'm just going to do December today in this instalment, and then in the next instalment, which I might do in the next few days actually, I'll do January, and then I've caught up. So, without further ado, the first record I listened to in December was on the 8th of December, and it was this one. This is the Byrds Untitled album, which I think it was their 10th album. First disc is a live record, which I didn't listen to on this occasion. The second disc is a studio set. Opens with Chestnut Mare, brilliant song. Truck Stop Girl, which is really good. A couple of really, really nice songs on side 4. You've got Just a Season, Take a Whiff. So this is the version of the Byrds long after the classic lineup had basically been replaced. Nearly everybody had been replaced, I think, at this point, apart from Jim McGuinn. So you've got Skip Battin, Gene Parsons and Clarence White. I wish the copy was slightly better. It's very slightly on the noisy side. It's not too bad, but it's not wonderful. Quite commonly available, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. On the 12th of December, I gave this one a run for its money. This is the Kane Gang and their album The Bad and Lowdown World Of. I think this was their first record. I think they only made 2. So this bunch were basically from the northeast, County Durham, same place that Prefab Sprout came from, and on the same record label, on the Kitchenware label. This was actually some VCLT many years ago from Graham Watson, who I see has made a comeback on the VC recently. Check out Graham, cracking vinyl. So anyway, yeah, the Kane Gang, Martin Brammer, David Brewis and Paul Woods. And this is a pretty good album, actually. It's a little bit Prefab Sprouty, but it's maybe got a bit more of an 80s thing going on, a slightly more kind of drum machine-y sound in places. But there's some really, really nice stuff on the album. I think you've got Sam Brown on here doing backing vocals. And it's produced by somebody famous, Pete Wingfield, who did all sorts of stuff. I mean, he produced the first Dexys album. He worked with Alan Parsons. He's worked with Paul McCartney. He's a bit of an all-rounder. And there were a couple of singles from the album. Maybe Closest Thing to Heaven was a single. It's got their cover version of Respect Yourself on it. It's actually a really enjoyable album. I don't think they're in Prefab Sprout league, but I do think it's an enjoyable listen, and quite nice that they're from County Durham as well, same part of the country as the Sprouts, and nice to get another record on Kitchenware. So yeah, I mean, I've had that in the collection for a long time, but I hadn't spun it for ages, so that was good. Kane Gang. Okay, so the following day, on the 13th of December, I listened to this album, and this is an old favourite, really. This is Discipline by King Crimson. One of only, I think, 4 albums by King Crimson that I've got on vinyl. I wouldn't class myself as a massive King Crimson fan, although I do love Red, and I love this album as well. And in a way, they're quite different albums, but I suppose you can still hear the crimson-y thread that runs all the way through them. This might have been the first one they did, having reformed in the 80s, and it's the one where they started to really get into electronics. Different lineup, of course. You don't have John Wetton anymore. It's Adrian Belew doing his best David Byrne imitation. But there are some quite knotty, quite tricky songs on this album. Some great drumming from Bill Bruford, who does a really good job most of the time of camouflaging the strange meters that he's playing in. One of my favourite songs of all time comes from this. It's Frame by Frame, where he's playing in some crazy time signature, absolutely, ludicrous time signature, but he disguises it as 4/4 in a really clever way. I've seen the drum transcriptions of it. Extremely clever operator, Bill Bruford, in the 80s. He'd realised that things were going more metronomic, but of course he still wanted to be this pioneering percussive figure who was able to do all these amazing counter rhythms. So he just found a way of doing it, essentially. Anyway, really great album, really good sound, a sort of slightly ethnic-y sound coming through in places, you know, with the drum pads and the samples and everything. Very, very strong. And side 2, you've got the great track, The Sheltering Sky, which is named after a novel by Paul Bowles, the American author. Really great novel, actually, set in Morocco, as most of his stuff was. Got a bit of a desert kind of flavour to it, the track as well. Yeah, anyway, Crim. 13th of the 12th. Right, need to speed up. 14th of the 12th was this. Leonard Cohen, I'm Your Man. Very, very enjoyable album, and I do love the cover. The cover of him eating a banana. I think it was an impromptu shot that somebody happened to take, maybe a member of the crew, and he liked it and put it on the album cover. But this has got some really great stuff on it. I mean, this could do with, you know, a video unto itself, really. You've got some amazing, amazing lyrical songs on here. I think it's one of his best. It's got that kind of 80s sound going on, but as usual with Leonard Cohen, he makes it work. Really, really enjoyable. That was a charity shop find from a few years ago. I think it was a charity shop find. Might have been Heightside. I can't quite remember. Anyway, loved it. And then the next day, 15th of the 12th, just went for a bit of Marvin Gaye, who I listened to quite a lot actually in 2024. Don't have a huge Marvin collection, but I spun most of the ones that I've got. And this is the one with the great painting. And it has some tremendous stuff on it. It's got a bit of a dance groove to it all the way through, really. Fantastic instrumental called After the Dance on side 1. Really great stuff. Produced by Leon Ware and with the great James Gadson, the R&B funk drummer. And then the following day, on the 16th of 12th, again a bit of VCLT from the good old days, from Martin Parrott, the vinyl scavenger, who sent me three church records. And this is one of them. This is Gold Afternoon Fix. Now, I did write this down. Their 6th album. And the Church were a band that totally passed me by back in the day. I don't think I'd even heard of them until I discovered the VC. Maybe not a huge amount of chart success in the UK, but a good band, bit of a sort of doleful sound, psychedelic guitars, and some really good songs. So, yeah, nice to hear that one again. Thank you, Martin. I need to find some more Church records, really. Okay, a bit of a gap again. Then the 22nd of December, so we're rushing towards the end of the year now. This was a record that I kind of got it on my radar as one I hadn't listened to for ages. You know when you sort of flick through records trying to find things to listen to and you keep going past something? This one, Conflicting Emotions by Split Enz, which was their 9th album. A really enjoyable listen. It's produced by Hugh Padgham, who of course, you know, Wonder Kid, producer extraordinaire. He did, you know, he produced The Police, Genesis, Invisible Touch, Press to Play by Paul McCartney. You know, a slightly checkered reputation in terms of his very aggressively 1980s production style, all kind of whiz-bang. It sort of works with this one. I don't know too much about Split Enz music. I've only heard, the only other album by them I've heard is a much earlier one, and that's Mental Notes, which is a very strange progressive rock album and nothing like this at all, really. But I think Hugh Padgham does quite a good job. It's got quite a sort of sharp, angular sound, some interesting songs. It's definitely an 80s album, but I enjoyed it. Again, they're another band I would like to hear more of. I just never see their records around. I think even on CD now it's hard to get some of their releases. But anyway, that was good on A&M. Okay, so we're nearly at New Year now. On the 29th of December, I listened to Suzi Quatro's Greatest Hits. And I had it in my mind I was going to do a video on Greatest Hits albums. I didn't end up doing that, but I might end up doing it at some point this year. But anyway, that's why that one came off the shelf. Suzi Quatro, who of course totally dominated Top of the Pops back when I was growing up. I never bought her records, I never bought her singles, never bought her albums, but I always used to enjoy seeing her on Top of the Pops. I used to like the songs, those great Chin and Chapman pop songs. Can the Can, you've got the Wild One. Devilgate Drive at the start of side 2 is a favourite, great kind of drive-in song. Richie McCook, big fan of hers, often shows her records. I never see her original albums, but that was good fun. Can't beat a bit of Suzi, can you? And that's on the classic RAK label. which always reminds me of Racy. I had the single of, what was their song? 1978, Lay Your Love on Me. Come on, baby, lay your love on me. Yeah, that was the first record I had on the RAK label. And again, that was a Chin and Chapman song, wasn't it? And then finally, the record I played on New Year's Eve was this one. It was The Fine Art of Surfacing by the Boomtown Rats. Now, this one is a brand new copy, which I picked up not long before. I haven't shown it in a Vinyl Finds video because I thought it was maybe a bit too mundane to show in a Finds video. But the story here is that I had this record in my collection for years, absolutely years. We're talking 30 years, and I'd hardly spun it. I don't know why. I just don't listen to the Boomtown Rats that much as an albums band, really. So I came to listen to it, finally, and it just completely vanished from my collection. Got no idea what's become of it. It was a promo copy that I had from back in the early 80s, but it had just vanished. Maybe I purged it. I found it difficult to believe. Maybe it's misfiled. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I had to buy a new copy of it in order to listen to it. So I sourced one on eBay, very cheap, and it's a beautiful copy. It's actually much, much nicer than the copy I had. Mine was a promo, and it was a slightly dog-eared copy, but this one is much, much nicer. This was their third album, and this is the one that has I Don't Like Mondays on it, of course, the big hit. First track on the start of side 2. I do think that they're a great little band from back in the day whose career sort of founded on the rocks, really. Founded on the rocks of Bob Geldof's post-Live Aid annoyingness, probably. But they have made a comeback in recent years. They're back on the circuit again. So, yeah, why not? Bit of Boomtown Rats. So that brings us up to date, up to the end of December, 31st of December 2024. That's how I ended the year musically. So, yeah, that's it for now. As I said, I'll try and do another instalment in the next few days, cover January, and then I won't have to do another one of these then for a few weeks. So, yeah, there we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.